likes flowers, but don't send me any flowers because I don't like flowers.
Ingrid! I hate her. Son.
They made us laugh, cry, and quote their sketches for years. But then, they vanished from Saturday Night Live without warning. Now, the real reasons behind their sudden exits are finally coming to light, and it's not all backstage jokes and applause. From toxic feuds to emotional breakdowns, some stories are downright heartbreaking. Here's why these stars walked away from the most iconic comedy show on television. Dennis Miller. Dennis Miller joined Saturday Night Live in its 11th season, stepping into the role of Weekend Update anchor. His sharp, sardonic wit and rapid-fire delivery, peppered with arcane pop culture references, quickly resonated with viewers, making him one of the segment's most memorable hosts. Miller remained on SNL until 1991, when he made the bold decision to leave at the height of his popularity. In a 1992 interview with the Chicago Tribune, he revealed the real motivation behind his exit: fatherhood. "I was very happy where I was," he said, but the birth of his son inspired him to push beyond his comfort zone. "Something about his birth reacquainted this urge in me to strive for things. Make the boy proud." That urge led him to launch The Dennis Miller Show in January 1992, but the talk show was short-lived, canceled by July. Reflecting on its failure in the Los Angeles Times, Miller simply said, "People lose their jobs every day." Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald joined Saturday Night Live in 1993 during its 19th season and quickly made his mark as the anchor of Weekend Update. Known for his dry, deadpan delivery and fearless humor, Macdonald often targeted controversial figures, none more frequently than O.J. Simpson, who was then embroiled in a highly publicized murder trial. His relentless jabs reportedly irritated powerful NBC executive Don Ohlmeyer, a close friend of Simpson's. In the SNL Oral History Live from New York, Macdonald recalled the moment he was told he'd no longer be hosting Weekend Update, with the reason being simply that Ohlmeyer wanted him out. Though Ohlmeyer denied Simpson was the cause, claiming the segment was just not as funny as it should be, few bought the official explanation. Despite the controversy, Macdonald held no grudges. "To me, just getting there was the thing," he said, reflecting with gratitude on his time at SNL. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller joined the cast of Saturday Night Live in 1989, but departed after only 6 episodes. In a 2018 interview on The Howard Stern Show, Stiller explained that his real passion at the time was directing short comedy films, not performing live sketches. He'd initially believed that his role on SNL would involve producing filmed segments, but instead, he found himself in front of a live audience, an environment he didn't feel comfortable in. "I knew that I wasn't good live because I would get nervous," he admitted. "I just felt I couldn't do well in that situation." Despite his brief stint, Stiller held no bitterness toward the show. He later returned to host SNL twice and reappeared in 2018 as Michael Cohen, President Donald Trump's former lawyer. That cameo came about when he casually asked Lorne Michaels for tickets, only for Michaels to reply, "Do you happen to have a Michael Cohen impression lying around?" Sarah Silverman. Sarah Silverman's time on Saturday Night Live was brief and largely unremarkable. She served as a featured player for just 1 season from 1993 to 1994. Despite later becoming a standout in stand-up comedy, film, and television, her stint on SNL left little impact. In a 2005 interview with The Believer, Silverman admitted she didn't enjoy talking about the experience because she found it boring. She also revealed she learned she'd been fired via fax, a harsh send-off that added insult to injury. Fellow comedian Bob Odenkirk, then a writer on SNL, offered insight into why Silverman may not have thrived on the show. "She's got her own voice. She doesn't disappear into characters," he told The New Yorker. Instead, Silverman presented comedy in her own unapologetic style, something that didn't quite fit the mold of a sketch-driven ensemble like SNL. Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase became an instant star as the first anchor of Saturday Night Live's iconic Weekend Update, delivering biting jokes with his trademark sign-off, "I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not." His physical comedy, including pratfalls and a famously clumsy impression of President Gerald Ford, cemented his place as the show's first breakout star among the original not-ready-for-primetime players. Despite his rising fame, Chase shocked fans by leaving midway through SNL's second season, while many assumed he exited to pursue a film career, his first major movie being 1978's Foul Play. Chase later revealed that love, not Hollywood, drove his decision. In a 2007 interview, he admitted he left for Jacqueline Carlin, a woman he was deeply infatuated with who refused to move to New York. Looking back, Chase confessed it was a rash decision that he came to regret. Charles Rocket. After the 5th season of Saturday Night Live, every original cast member, along with creator Lorne Michaels, exited the show, leaving NBC to rebuild from scratch. Jean Doumanian was brought in as the new producer, along with a fresh cast. Unfortunately, the result was a chaotic and poorly received 6th season, widely regarded as one of the worst in SNL history. Amid the turmoil, one infamous moment stood out. During a live sketch parodying Dallas, cast member Charles Rocket dropped an uncensored F-bomb on air. The moment caused an uproar and became the final straw for an already crumbling show. Ratings were plummeting, and NBC responded by firing Doumanian and several cast members, including Rocket. Though she later claimed the firings were unfair, the damage was done. Rocket, born Charles Clavery, continued to act in comedies like Hocus Pocus and Dumb and Dumber, but his life ended tragically in 2005 when he was found dead in a field near his home. His death ruled a suicide. Harry Shearer. Harry Shearer, now best known as the voice behind Mr. Burns, Principal Skinner, and many other iconic characters on The Simpsons, holds the rare distinction of quitting Saturday Night Live twice. He first joined the cast as a writer and performer during the turbulent 1979-1980 season, but quickly walked away, later calling the experience a living hell. Despite that, Shearer returned 5 years later for the 1984-1985 season, encouraged by a positive guest appearance he made with his Spinal Tap co-stars Michael McKean and Christopher Guest. Unfortunately, history repeated itself. "I was pretty fucking miserable for virtually the entire season," Shearer confessed in the SNL Oral History Live from New York. When he finally left again, SNL producer Dick Ebersol blamed creative differences in a press release. Shearer had the last word with a witty jab. "Yeah, I was creative and they were different." Paul Shaffer. In a 2018 interview with Closer Weekly, Paul Shaffer reflected on his early days at Saturday Night Live, where he got his start after being hired by musical director Howard Shore to play piano in the show's band. His musical talent soon translated into on-camera moments, most memorably his deadpan impersonation of music mogul Don Kirshner. After 5 groundbreaking seasons, when the entire original cast departed in 1980, Shaffer also chose to move on. "I did the first 5 years of SNL, and everyone in the original group was leaving, so I decided to see what else was out there," he recalled. After a stint as a studio musician, he got a life-changing call to meet a rising comedian launching a new NBC late-night show. That comedian was David Letterman. "We hit it off right away," Shaffer said. He was hired as band leader, a role he maintained for over 3 decades, following Letterman from Late Night to The Late Show on CBS. He says now that he never had anyone else in mind for the job, and I believe him, Shaffer said. Martin Short and Billy Crystal. Season 10 of Saturday Night Live is remembered as a standout, thanks in large part to the star power of Billy Crystal and Martin Short. Crystal delivered instant classics like the charming Fernando, famous for the catchphrase, "You look marvelous," and his exaggerated take on talk show host Joe Franklin. Meanwhile, Short brought his signature energy from SCTV, reviving fan-favorite characters like the awkward Ed Grimley and flamboyant Jackie Rogers Jr. Despite their popularity, both comedians left after just one season. According to Short, it was always the plan. "I had a one-year contract," he explained in Live from New York. "I approached that show knowing I wouldn't be around long, so I wanted to do as much as possible." Crystal echoed a similar sentiment, saying, "I never put a time limit on it. I just knew I had to give it my shot as a performer and creative person." Aristotle Athari's tenure on Saturday Night Live was brief, just one season in 2021, but he made a memorable impact as the show's first male Middle Eastern cast member. Known for inventive characters like the android comedian Laughingtosh 3000 and the artsy improv crooner Angelo, Athari brought sharp stand-up skills honed in Los Angeles and a recurring role on HBO's Silicon Valley to the SNL stage. However, joining during the COVID-19 pandemic presented unique challenges. A massive 21-member cast, strict masking, and social distancing made bonding and getting stage time tough. Athari admitted on the Saturday Night Network podcast that not knowing fellow cast members like James Austin Johnson and Sarah Sherman hindered his integration. Despite leaving in 2022, he quickly landed a role in the sci-fi rom-com Molly and Max in the future, proving his career momentum continues. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr.'s brief stint on Saturday Night Live in 1985 came during a challenging period for the show. Ratings were low, and NBC had brought back original producer Lorne Michaels after a 5-year absence to revive SNL with a fresh cast, including Downey. At just 19 or 20, Downey was relatively inexperienced in the fast-paced world of live sketch comedy. Reflecting in a 1991 interview, he admitted the experience was crazy and difficult, but valuable, noting it taught him resilience that helped him endure later film sets. While fellow castmates like Nora Dunn, John Lovitz, and Dennis Miller helped turn the show around, Downey acknowledged he wasn't a major part of that shift due to his limited improv skills. Still, he described performing on SNL as an exhilarating, unforgettable 90 minutes, no matter one's talent level. Gilbert Gottfried. In comedy, timing can make or break a career. And for Gilbert Gottfried, his timing with Saturday Night Live in 1980 couldn't have been worse. Joining during a chaotic transition, the first season without creator Lorne Michaels and the beloved original cast, Gottfried found himself part of a doomed ensemble. Audiences rejected the sudden overhaul, which Gottfried later compared to replacing the Beatles at the height of Beatlemania. On the Joe Rogan Experience, he recalled how the writers didn't know what to do with his bizarre, high-energy humor that had won him the job. Their disdain became literal when they wrote a sketch where he played a corpse, lying silent in a coffin. That one-note role symbolized the season's failure, as most of the cast was axed. Still, Gottfried bounced back, eventually becoming a cult comedy legend. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Julia Louis-Dreyfus may be celebrated today for iconic roles in Seinfeld and Veep, but her early career at Saturday Night Live was far less triumphant. Joining the cast in 1982 at just 21, she recalled her 3-season stint as more of a harsh lesson than a joyful experience. "I didn't have tons of fun, but I did learn a ton," she admitted on Radio Andy, describing her entry into the show as naive and unprepared for its cutthroat environment. In an interview with Bustle, she added that SNL was not a female-friendly environment at all, and getting her sketches on air was a constant struggle. Still, her time on the show wasn't without bright spots. She met her future husband, castmate Brad Hall, and connected with writer Larry David, who would later change her life by casting her in Seinfeld. As she put it, "He was super miserable, and I was super miserable, and you know how misery loves company." Alex Moffat. Alex Moffat joined Saturday Night Live in 2016 during a political firestorm and quickly became a standout, especially for his hilariously dim portrayal of Eric Trump. While he also stepped into the role of President Joe Biden, it was his goofy take on the Trump son that left a lasting impression. When he departed the show in 2022 amid a wave of high-profile exits, including Kate McKinnon and Pete Davidson, Moffat didn't offer much explanation. However, in 2023, he revealed that the chance to do live theater had been calling to him. "I've been looking forward to this for a really long time," he said on the Broadway show, excited to make his Broadway debut in The Cottage, directed by Seinfeld alum Jason Alexander. He appreciated the slower, more thoughtful rehearsal process compared to SNL's rushed schedule, and was also grateful for more time at home with his wife, Caroline Rao, and their toddler, Bobby Moynihan. Bobby Moynihan joined Saturday Night Live in 2008 and quickly won over audiences with his standout impressions and original characters like Drunk Uncle and a hilariously exaggerated Snooki. After nearly a decade on the show, Moynihan made the decision to leave in 2017, not due to drama, but to pursue new creative challenges. While promoting his CBS sitcom Me, Myself and I, he admitted that the idea of eventually leaving SNL had loomed from the beginning. "The day you get SNL, you start worrying about your exit," he said. Moynihan wanted to prove he could play serious roles, not just comedic caricatures. Unfortunately, Me, Myself, and I flopped after just 6 episodes. Still, Moynihan rebounded, landing roles in Mr. Mayor and several animated series like DuckTales and Star Wars Resistance. In 2022, he returned to SNL for a nostalgic Halloween cameo, proving the love was still mutual. Vanessa Bayer. Vanessa Bayer carved out a unique place for herself on Saturday Night Live during her 7-season run from 2010 to 2017. Her endearing charm and quirky characters, like her spot-on parody of Rachel Green from Friends, made her a consistent highlight. But after 7 years, Bayer felt it was time to move on. "It felt like it was time for me," she told The Hollywood Reporter. Her favorite character, Jacob the bar mitzvah boy, was especially personal to her. "The shyness and awkwardness is at the core of me," she said. After leaving SNL, Bayer stayed busy, landing recurring roles on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Will and Grace, and Single Parents. She also starred in her own Showtime series, I Love That for You, inspired by her real-life battle with childhood leukemia. Her castmates were understanding of her exit, she said, joking to HuffPost, "After 7 years, I want to take a nap." Sasheer Zamata. Sasheer Zamata made headlines in 2015 when she joined Saturday Night Live, becoming the first black woman to be hired as a full-time cast member since Maya Rudolph's departure nearly a decade earlier. Her hiring was widely viewed as a long-overdue response to criticism aimed at SNL and Lorne Michaels over the show's lack of diversity. However, after 4 seasons, Zamata quietly left the show. In a 2019 panel hosted by The Cut, she opened up about her experience, saying, "It was not what I thought it was going to be. It's not like any other job." She admitted she struggled with whether to endure the show's challenges or move on to something more creatively fulfilling. Ultimately, she chose the latter. Since leaving SNL, Zamata has found steady work in TV, appearing in Corporate, Robbie, Woke, and the ABC sitcom Home Economics. Beck Bennett. Beck Bennett joined Saturday Night Live in 2013 as one of 6 new cast members and quickly became a standout for his eccentric impressions, like a boozy Tom Brady or a bizarrely bare-chested Vladimir Putin. Known for embracing offbeat, clueless characters, he even poked fun at his typecasting during Scarlett Johansson's 2019 monologue, quipping, "You need me? Who's gonna play the dumb idiot?" After 8 seasons, Bennett announced his departure in 2021 through Instagram, calling his time on the show life-changing. Reflecting on the moment he knew it was time to leave, Bennett described seeing his wife, Jessie Hodges, in the audience during a performance while Lorne Michaels smiled from backstage. The emotional synchronicity, he said, felt like a clear sign. Another major reason for leaving was personal. After years of long-distance living, SNL in New York, Hodges in LA, he felt it was time to prioritize starting a family. Just months later, in May 2022, the couple welcomed their first child, Aidy Bryant. Aidy Bryant joined Saturday Night Live in 2012 and became one of the show's most beloved cast members over her 10-year run. When she left in 2022, she explained in an interview with Variety that her departure had actually been delayed by the pandemic. "If it weren't for COVID, I probably would have left a few years earlier," she said. The disruption of normalcy led her and many of her castmates to return for another season. Meanwhile, Bryant had been juggling her work on Hulu's Shrill, which she co-created and starred in, causing her to miss episodes of SNL. Ultimately, she decided that season 47 felt like the right time to say goodbye. 10 felt like a nice, solid round number, she said. Post-SNL, Bryant voiced a character in Netflix's Human Resources and hinted her future lies in creating her own material rather than waiting for casting calls. "Everything that has worked for me has been by writing it myself," she shared. Kate McKinnon. Kate McKinnon was a standout force during her decade-long tenure on Saturday Night Live, earning acclaim for her razor-sharp impressions of public figures like Justin Bieber and Hillary Clinton. Her comedic brilliance made her a fan favorite, while her versatility helped her land major roles outside of SNL, including Ghostbusters, Office Christmas Party, and a dramatic turn as Carol Baskin in Joe vs. Carol. She also brought charm to younger audiences as the voice of Ms. Fiona Frizzle in Netflix's reboot of The Magic School Bus. When McKinnon left the show in 2022, it wasn't a decision she made lightly. "All I ever wanted to do in my whole life was be on Saturday Night Live, and so I did," she said on Live with Kelly and Ryan. While she cherished the experience, she admitted, "My body was tired, and I felt like it was time." As for watching future episodes, McKinnon confessed she might need space from the show for a while, joking that she'd rather catch up on The Bachelorette instead. Melissa Villaseñor joined Saturday Night Live in 2016 and quickly made a name for herself with her uncanny ability to impersonate a wide range of celebrities. In one particularly impressive sketch, she flawlessly mimicked Kristen Wiig, Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Kathy Griffin, and even her co-star Kate McKinnon, highlighting her unique versatility and vocal talent. After 6 seasons, Villaseñor announced her departure in 2022. In a candid interview on the Last Laugh podcast, she revealed that ongoing anxiety and panic attacks ultimately led her to step away from the show. "I always felt like I was on the edge of a cliff every week," she explained. Though she emphasized that SNL was not a toxic environment, she acknowledged that the stress became too overwhelming. Since leaving, Villaseñor has turned to new creative outlets, including the release of her first book, Whoops, I'm Awesome, which she described as a whimsical guide for an adult's inner child. Pete Davidson. At just 20 years old, Pete Davidson became one of the youngest cast members in Saturday Night Live history when he joined in 2014. He quickly found his niche with raw, self-deprecating humor during Weekend Update segments, often playing himself. Off-screen, Davidson became a media sensation, attracting tabloid attention for his high-profile relationships with stars like Ariana Grande, Kate Beckinsale, Phoebe Dynevor, and Kim Kardashian. His popularity on SNL led to roles in films like The Suicide Squad and The King of Staten Island, a semi-autobiographical dramedy directed by Judd Apatow. Davidson announced his departure from SNL in May 2022, expressing heartfelt gratitude to Lorne Michaels and the cast. However, he had hinted at his exit as early as 2021, noting the intense pressure behind the scenes. "It's a cutthroat fucking show," he admitted, revealing how fiercely competitive the environment really was. Chris Redd. Chris Redd joined Saturday Night Live in 2017 and stayed for 5 seasons, leaving in 2022. Though 5 years is a respectable tenure, it was longer than he initially planned. Redd confessed on the WTF podcast with Marc Maron that he had always envisioned a 4-year run. His feelings about the show were mixed. While he appreciated the experience and the fun it brought, He hesitated to call it his lifelong dream, wanting to respect those who truly idolized SNL as kids. During his time on the show, Red balanced other projects, notably co-starring in NBC's sitcom Kenan alongside Kenan Thompson and appearing in the 2022 comedy series Bust Down. After leaving SNL, he returned to his stand-up roots with his HBO Max special, Chris Red, Why Am I Like This?, continuing to showcase his sharp comedic voice. Cecily Strong. Cecily Strong bid farewell to Saturday Night Live in December 2022, wrapping up a remarkable decade-long run that began in 2012. In a bittersweet nod during her final Weekend Update appearance, her beloved character Kathy Ann humorously announced she was leaving because she was being sent to jail, acknowledging the departure with her signature blend of wit and charm. Outside the sketch, Strong shared heartfelt reflections on Instagram, expressing gratitude for her time on the show and the deep bonds formed. She apologized for keeping her exit quiet, explaining the emotional weight made public announcements difficult. Fans were quickly reassured as Strong transitioned smoothly into new projects, notably starring alongside Keegan-Michael Key in the Apple TV Plus musical spoof Schmigadoon, demonstrating her versatile comedic talent beyond SNL. Cheri Oteri. Cheri Oteri joined Saturday Night Live in 1995, right as the show was undergoing a massive overhaul. After a season of plummeting ratings, Lorne Michaels cleared house and brought in a fresh crop of talent, including Oteri, Will Ferrell, and Darrell Hammond. The result was a more positive and collaborative environment. Everybody came in at the same time, and there was this appreciation and energy, Oteri recalled on the Fly on the Wall podcast. Free from ego battles and backstage intimidation, she quickly became a standout with her hyperactive cheerleader Ariana and her uncanny Barbara Walters impression. After 5 successful seasons, Oteri left SNL in 2000, fresh off an Emmy nomination and a role in Scary Movie, hoping to launch into superstardom. While her post-SNL film career stalled, she remained a familiar TV presence, with cameos on Curb Your Enthusiasm, Boston Legal, and even a turn on Broadway in Newsical the Musical. Colin Quinn. For many cast members, anchoring Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live is a dream gig, a launching pad that helped make Chevy Chase, Tina Fey, and Seth Meyers famous. But for Colin Quinn, it was a burden. Speaking on The Howard Stern Show, Quinn admitted, "I should have just left after a few shows. I couldn't enjoy it." His discomfort stemmed largely from how he got the job. When Norm Macdonald, his close friend and predecessor, was controversially fired in 1998, Quinn was thrust into the role. The transition left him feeling guilty and conflicted. "I feel like I even sabotaged it because I felt so guilty," he confessed. Critics often rank him among the weaker Update hosts, an opinion Quinn doesn't contest. After leaving SNL in 2000, he found new creative freedom on Broadway, turning his sharp comedy into acclaimed solo stage shows. Chris Rock. Chris Rock joined Saturday Night Live in 1990 and quickly stood out with his bold, edgy humor. His characters, like militant talk show host Nat X and manic correspondent Buster Jenkins, pushed boundaries and made viewers both laugh and squirm. Yet behind the scenes, Rock struggled with the limitations placed on him. As the only black cast member at the time, he was often shoehorned into stereotypical roles, which left him creatively stifled. Rock admired In Living Color, the rival sketch show with a mostly black cast and sharper social commentary. "The people at SNL are the nicest people ever," Rock told Mark Maron in 2011. But In Living Color was just hip, man. Though it's unclear whether he quit or was fired, Rock joined In Living Color in 1993, just in time for its final season. Jay Mohr. In his revealing memoir, Gasping for Airtime, Jay Mohr chronicled his chaotic, anxiety-ridden 2-season run on Saturday Night Live, describing himself as a self-medicating newcomer who struggled to get his sketches on the air. One sketch that did make it, however, would ultimately lead to his professional undoing. Mohr admitted to lifting the concept nearly verbatim from comedian Rick Shapiro's stand-up act, specifically a routine about father and son innkeepers. After the sketch aired, he was summoned to a meeting with Lorne Michaels and producer Ken Aimong. When asked if he knew Shapiro, Mohr lied and said no, only for Aimong to play a VCR tape of Shapiro's original bit, which mirrored Mohr's sketch almost exactly. Even then, Mohr continued to deny any knowledge of Shapiro. A lawsuit followed, and while Shapiro received an undisclosed settlement and had the sketch pulled from future broadcasts, Mohr somehow avoided immediate termination. Still, he was let go at the end of the season. "What I did was inexcusable," he wrote, adding, "and no apology in the world could ever make up for it." Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler and Chris Farley, two of Saturday Night Live's brightest stars in the early 90s, joined the show during its 16th season and quickly became fan favorites. With Sandler's musical absurdity and Farley's explosive physical comedy, the duo helped define SNL's comedic voice throughout their 5-year tenure. Despite their popularity, both were unexpectedly fired before the 21st season. The decision came from NBC executives, not Lorne Michaels, leaving both men stunned. On The Howard Stern Show, Sandler recalled the moment, saying, "At the time, I was hurt because I didn't know what else I was going to do." He remembered running into Farley soon after, who told him, "Me too. They don't want me either." The two, heartbroken, masked their pain with humor, telling each other, "Fuck, this suck," and pretending it was for the best. Sandler revisited the firing in his 2019 SNL hosting debut, singing, I was fired, so sad to tell. Well, I never saw it coming. I got fired from SNL," turning a painful chapter into comedy gold. Al Franken. Al Franken began his long association with Saturday Night Live as a writer during its inaugural season in 1975, eventually becoming a featured performer known for his sharp political satire. He remained with the show on and off for years, but his tenure came to an abrupt end when he was passed over for the Weekend Update anchor role, which went to Norm Macdonald. Disappointed, Franken shifted his focus to political commentary, penning the 1996 bestseller Rush Limbaugh is a Big Fat Idiot and Other Observations, which marked his transition from comedy to activism. By 2004, he was hosting his own progressive radio show. In its final 2007 episode, Franken announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate in Minnesota. He won the seat in a razor-thin race in 2009 and was re-elected in 2014. However, his political career collapsed in 2017 amid multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. While announcing his resignation, Franken acknowledged the controversy but maintained, "Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Nothing that I have done as a senator has brought dishonor on this institution." Leslie Jones. Fans were disappointed in summer 2019 when it was announced that Leslie Jones would not return for Saturday Night Live's 2019 to 2020 season. According to Deadline, the decision was hers, and Jones later confirmed the news in a heartfelt thread on X, formerly Twitter. She thanked fans for their support and hinted at exciting new ventures, writing that she hoped they'd be just as thrilled about the amazing projects and adventures she had coming up. True to her word, Jones debuted her first Netflix stand-up special, Leslie Jones' Time Machine, in January 2020, showcasing her signature high-energy comedy. She also took on a brand new role as host of ABC's reboot of Supermarket Sweep, which premiered in fall 2020. In an interview with the New York Times, Jones candidly explained her departure. "I'm 52 and tired. SNL is a hard job. It's 100 hours a week. Also, it's an institution. I get bored, and I want to do different things." Shane Gillis. In September 2019, Saturday Night Live announced the addition of 3 new cast members for its upcoming season, including stand-up comedian Shane Gillis. However, the celebration was short-lived. Soon after the announcement, journalist Seth Simons posted a resurfaced podcast clip on X, formerly Twitter, revealing Gillis using racially offensive slurs toward Asian Americans. The backlash was swift and intense, and further examples of Gillis making insensitive remarks soon surfaced. Within days, SNL executive producer Lorne Michaels made the rare move of rescinding the hiring. "After talking with Shane Gillis, we have decided that he will not be joining SNL," read a statement shared with CNN. "The language he used is offensive, hurtful, and unacceptable." Gillis responded in a since-deleted tweet, stating, "I'm a comedian who pushes boundaries. I sometimes miss." Nasim Pedrad. Nasim Pedrad made history when she joined Saturday Night Live in 2009 as the show's first Iranian-born cast member. During her 5-season run, she became known for her versatility and quirky characters. In 2014, Pedrad left SNL to pursue new opportunities and was immediately cast in Mulaney, a Fox sitcom created by former SNL writer John Mulaney. Speaking at the Television Critics Association summer press tour that year, Pedrad explained, "Obviously, there's nothing like that show, and I was lucky to be there for 5 years. At some point, you have to leave, and I can't think of a better reason than for this particular show and this particular cast." Unfortunately, Mulaney was panned by critics. Slate quipped, "Mulaney is just like Seinfeld, except it's not funny," and was canceled after 1 season. Still, Pedrad's career thrived. She landed roles in Scream Queens, New Girl, Disney's Aladdin, and starred in and co-created the comedy series Chad, in which she played a socially awkward 14-year-old boy. Taran Killam. Taran Killam joined Saturday Night Live in 2010 and quickly became a fan favorite thanks to his sharp impressions and energetic performances. However, in 2016, his time on the show unexpectedly came to an end when his contract wasn't renewed. In an interview with Uproxx, Killam expressed surprise at the decision, saying, "You signed for 7 years, so I had 1 more year. I had sort of had it in my head I would make this upcoming year my last year, but then heard they weren't going to pick up my contract. I was never given a reason why." Despite the abrupt exit, Killam kept busy, appearing in films like Brother Nature and Night School. He also wrote and directed the 2017 action comedy Killing Gunther, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Killam later starred in the sitcom Single Parents, which aired from 2018 to 2020. Reflecting on SNL, he told the I Was There Too podcast that the show's collaborative spirit shifted after Seth Meyers left, noting, "The dynamic changed quite a bit. Seth was the last person who really collaborated with Lorne." Pharoah. Pharoah joined Saturday Night Live in 2010 and quickly became known for his uncanny impressions of celebrities like Jay-Z, Denzel Washington, and especially Barack Obama. But in 2016, alongside Taran Killam, Pharoah was unexpectedly let go. A year later, he opened up about his firing in a candid interview on Hot 97, saying, "You go where you're appreciated." He recalled castmates telling him how unfair it was that his talent was being underused. After SNL, Pharoah starred in Showtime's White Famous, which ran for 1 season, and took roles in Unsane, Champagne Ill, and lent his voice to Family Guy as Kanye West. In 2020, he made headlines for a harrowing encounter with LAPD officers who detained him at gunpoint during a jog. "Why does it have to go to that extremity?" he asked in a powerful CBS Mornings interview with Gayle King. Luke Null's stint on Saturday Night Live was so brief, many fans barely noticed he was there. Hired in 2017, Null lasted just 1 season before being let go. Though short-lived, his time on the show included a few memorable sketches, such as playing a disruptive high school student and a heavy metal fan trying to have his demon horns removed. In an interview with Vulture, Null opened up about the difficult experience, admitting that the fast-paced, high-pressure environment made it hard to thrive. "It's a very tense and stressful place. No one there is having fun," he said. Null questioned whether his material or performance had fallen short, but ultimately felt he wasn't given enough of a chance to shine. "I didn't get much of an at-bat," he reflected. What do you think about SNL stars leaving? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.